Future MRG here, just editing quickly. I want to say it ended up being quite a long video. So everyone who asked a question, or if you want to see my answer to a specific question, in the description, I'm going to put timestamps of all the individual questions and what time I answer it at. Enjoy the video. Welcome back, people. So, a little bit of a different one today. Last week, I put on my Instagram story for my weekly Q&A, which I've been doing on my Instagram every single week. But I said that this week I would answer everything and I would do it on a long form YouTube video. So here we are. I'm out on a dog walk. There's my dog eating grass. Weirdo. Yeah, it's raining a little bit. Not much, really light. But it's like the perfect amount because it's not annoying, but it smells really nice. I actually really like it when it's like this. A lot of English people hate the rain. And to be fair, I hate it when it's like heavy. But this is really nice, so I like this. Right. So, as I said I'd answer all of them. There's some questionable ones. Well, there's not a lot of questionable ones. There's one like really questionable one for an old engineer. But I said I'd answer all of them, so I have to. So let's get straight into them. Number one, biggest lesson life has learned you. So I think that meant, what you meant to say was biggest lesson life has taught you. I guess like, that's kind of deep straight off the bat. But probably not to care what other people think. And I've kind of always been pretty good at that, to be fair, like always in school and stuff. I kind of just did like my own thing, like literally just always did what I wanted, and I wouldn't really care what people said to me. But then like extrapolating that is like literally, if you like really want something, then I think you just got to like full send it and go fully for it. That being said, like don't run around trying to hurt people's feelings and like offend people. So I don't think that's a good way to live your life either. So I'd say biggest lesson life has learnt me is probably that. Just don't care what other people think, because at the end of the day, like it literally doesn't change anything for you. You need to just do what you want to do. Come here, boy. I've got a fence crossing now. Sit. Sit. I always like to call the dog back and then go like one by one over this fence. But yeah, that's question number one. Go! Such a good dog. Right, question number two. I've written it all on a book, by the way, because I'm filming on my phone. Question number two. Into karting / racing for a while. Wondering the best way to do something weekly. Open brackets, limited pounds, close brackets. So, obviously, it's very difficult when you're on a limited budget. I mean, effectively, everyone's on a limited budget because racing is so expensive. Unless you're like some absolute billionaire, which is obviously very rare. You can't really just like be driving every single day. So what I'd recommend to that is, you said you're into karting / racing and you're new. So I'd recommend get yourself a kart, like buy one. And obviously that's going to be a bit more overhead initially, a bit more investment. But the thing with the karts is like if you get like a rolling frame, like just an OTK or whatever it is, over like the first 2 years it will depreciate quite a bit in value. So get one that's like 2-3 years old, and then that's going to maintain a similar sort of value for like 10 years really. And like they don't change that much, the karts. Say from when I went from cadets to juniors was end of 2011, start of 2012, and now like those frames I've got, like you wouldn't be winning on them at like a good level, but you wouldn't be far off, like enough to test in. So I'd just recommend buy yourself a kart. Anywhere between 2 and 5 years old will be fine. Try get a good deal on it. Obviously try get one that's like not bent. Try get one that's in good shape. Yeah, and then just take it in your car or in your van and get circulating, just get laps in. And like most tracks will be like £40 a day for the track time, and then just try run it yourself if you can, if you're like really cutting back, or get like your mate or one of your brothers or whatever it is, come here, or whatever it is to help you run it. And that's going to obviously help you cut costs to the maximum. Right, sit. This is a road crossing, so I'm 5 minutes in and I've only answered 2 questions. This is going to take ages. I've got 28 questions in total, so I'm going to be here for a little while. Go. Good lad. Right, question number 3. Spider on my book. Question number 3. At what level do you start getting paid to race? So, at what level do you start getting paid to race? So, this is what a lot of people probably don't realise. It's probably what a lot of people are going to have clicked on the video for. I'll definitely put this on the title. But to get paid in racing, to actually race yourself, the only real way is to be a factory driver or a works driver, is what they're known as in the industry. So if you look at Formula 1 and you look at Ferrari or McLaren, so like Leclerc or Piastri, just off the top of my head, they'll be getting paid. So they'll be on a yearly salary, an annual salary, or monthly, I don't know when actually the money will get deposited, but you'll be on a salary, and in exchange for your driving services you're getting paid. Outside of Formula 1, if you look at IndyCar, for example, this is now like not everyone is getting paid. I don't even know if everyone in Formula 1 is getting paid. Definitely like 10 years ago, half the grid were paying to be there. But now, I'm not sure if it's so sustainable that you could actually make money. What you got to realise as well is, say someone like Lance Stroll, because everyone's going to be like, oh, Lance's dad owns Aston, so he might still be getting paid like a salary. So like legally speaking, he is an employee of the enterprise Aston Martin Racing or Aston Martin Formula 1 team. Like, it's hard to know exactly how they've done it. Or he might have access to some other money, whatever it is. But effectively, only people who are employed by the, like the factory themselves are actually getting funded. Then the other way, that's like a proper pro driver. That's like what is actually professional. Then there's ways like how I've made money, where it's you're getting paid for coaching. So you get to drive with your coaching, or you don't drive and you coach. Now this is a lot more common. A lot of drivers that got to like an okay level, they got to like an okay level, like pretty high level, but then didn't get to like F1. That's pretty much what most drivers are having. And you'll see a lot of people, you see a lot of people who, they might be like coaching what we call a gentleman driver. So that's like someone who's bringing budget to a seat in a sports car, like a Le Mans type or a GT type car. And they're getting paid for the coaching. And then basically their expenses are getting paid for as well. But like, you're actually getting paid for the coaching more than the driving itself. And then anything where you're kind of getting paid above that is a works drive. And then there's other types of way where like a driver might be bringing in sponsorship through like B2B that's not like family related, and then they'll be getting percentage off that, but you're basically a broker then. So it's like, it's actually more, you got to be a businessman than a racing driver. But that's part of the game, because it's just such an expensive sport. So it's not so much at what level do you get paid, because there's some people who are making money at karting. Like, for example, there's factory drivers in karting. Some people I know who literally just on a wage just to race go-karts. And there's other people who have been paying to be in F1. So it's not at what level, it's just everyone's scenario, what's different. And it's about being able to place yourself in a position of value to whoever the decision maker is. I feel like I've worded that correctly. Whoever's got the money, you need to be valuable to them. And then yeah, that's how you get paid as a driver. But it's super rare. I think something like actual pro drivers where they're getting paid to actually drive, it's like 100 people in the world, something like that. It's like ridiculous. If you think about how many people want to do it, there's like 7.5 billion in the world, and like only 100 true pros. And then there's like, I guess you could call it semi-pro if you're like at my level, or like you can make a living from it, but like you're not going to be Lewis Hamilton, like multi-millionaire, and all you do is, well, even him actually, like if you think about it, he's getting paid for the sponsorship stuff because of the exposure and like the brand that he brings. So a lot of his work is actually probably going to events and stuff like that. So yeah, bit of a complicated answer, that bit of a long-winded one too, but I hope that gives you some sort of better understanding as to how the industry actually works. Right, question number 4. Best advice for picking up the pace and finding the limit quickly first time at new track. The biggest thing is you gotta go make mistakes. You've gotta, I mean, simple as that. Like, the only way you can really learn is by getting it wrong. And I mean, it's very hard to be on the limit straight away. So you're best off trying to maybe like ease into it the first couple of laps, whatever, if that makes you feel comfortable. But then you want to kind of overdrive it a little bit, and then you can really feel like the limit of the tyre, the limit of the aero, etc. Then you can adjust from there. Same with the balance. You're only ever gonna find out what the balance is when then you've got one end of the cars limiting you. So yeah, I'd say that you gotta drive hard, man. What's your VO2 max? So my watch reckons 51. I've got a Garmin. I don't know how accurate that is. So maybe 51, maybe higher, maybe lower. Not too sure. But my own watch was saying like 47 for ages, or like 45, I think, for ages. And then like people who I'd be better runner then would be higher VO2 max on their watch. So I don't know how accurate that is and how quickly it updates. But anyway, your upshifting and downshift technique with a hewland. So I'm guessing that you'd just been like a Formula Ford. I don't know if Hewland do any other gearboxes. For those of you who aren't aware, Hewland are a gearbox manufacturer in England. I want to say that it's like Basildon. Is that how you say it? Some town like that down south. I'm not too sure. Yeah, they've been doing the Formula Ford gearboxes since long before I was born. But I'm not sure if they do anything else. But I am just going to assume you're talking about the Formula Fords. For the way up, I just keep it flat, basically. You just got to time it right, because it's easy to miss a gear. And if you miss a gear, like the limiters, like it's quite hard to get like a good limiter going. And a lot of times, like people will run without even having a limiter. So if you miss a gear, like you're seriously in trouble. So keep it flat, don't miss the gear. Easier said than done. And then on the way down, I like to use my right foot on the brake pedal, and I like to use my left foot on the clutch. Now I've had a lot of drivers that I've coached and been teammates with, they like to left foot brake, and they say it gives them better feel, whatever. And to be fair, to an extent, like I agree, like it is easier with your left foot. But I'm also of the opinion that if you can manipulate all 3 pedals, it gives you more control over the car, and then you can like manipulate it better, even though it is harder and like therefore effectively less consistent, because it's easier to mess it up. But yeah, I like to use the clutch. And in the dry, I do heel and toe a bit, but like not a lot. You don't really need to. If anything, like I kind of like getting the rears to like semi-lock, which is when it does like the noise instead of fully locks up. And then in the wet, it's like you're a lot slower on the clutch and you're revving a lot more with the throttle on your heel and toe. And that's just basically, you're trying to avoid the rear locking because you've got less grip. So the limit is obviously, the limit of adhesion is not as not as hard as in the dry. So, next question. Do you know who asked you the most amount of questions? Yeah, so I've actually written down your name. Tony Patterson 21. I think I've said it right. To be fair, mate, you've literally asked on every single Q&A. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that support. There's also been a couple other people who have asked pretty much in every single week. So you guys, I really appreciate it. I hope you're watching this long form. Sit. Hope you're watching this long form content, and I hope you like this as much as you like the week in, week out Q&As. Go on, go. We're at the muddy pot now. You hear the mud? My hair's all over the place, by the way. Right, that's a bit better. It's raining now anyway, so I'm getting cold. It's raining a bit heavier. But yeah, like I was saying, there's a couple of you who I really, really appreciate the support. You've been really good to me. And I get such a buzz off that. Like, when I first started creating content, I didn't realise it would be this satisfying, this addictive. It's one of my, and actually like the long form content like this video, I get such a high off posting it and seeing comments and feedback, which is funny because it will get way less views, way less comments, way less likes than like an Instagram. But it's not like doing a video. Like a short one can take anywhere between literally 10 minutes and 3 hours. Whereas these, the longer ones, they feel like mini projects. Like sometimes it takes me like a few days because I'm still so novice at editing and stuff. And so then when you see the good feedback, like, oh, I love it. I think it's like definitely like one of the best feelings you can get online. So that sounded wrong. But yeah, anyway. What's the best way to save money for your first car? Probably not the best person to ask for this. I'm not exactly a financial guru. Quite the opposite. Give it, Max. Yeah, quite the opposite of that I am. So the only advice I'd say is sit. Speaking to the dog there, not you. The only advice I would say is save more than what you spend. Really, I don't know. Just yeah, live below your means and save up. Go, good boy. Yeah, so that's it. Right, next one. What category are you aiming for the next years? My goal in life, my career, I want to be racing in the Indy 500. I want to race an IndyCar. Sit down. If I can be doing like full seasons of IndyCar, that's literally my dream. So go, good lad. So I've got to say that. I don't know if the gate was a bit loud. Because I think also like if you aim for the stars, you might land on the moon. I'm obviously quite far away from that now. I was closer a few years ago, which is a bit depressing to think. But that's got to be the goal. I love the racing in it. I just think it's the best. I look like when you watch them around the speedway as well. They're doing like 230, 240. It's incredible. And one of my best mates actually is going to be racing it this year, Christian Rasmussen. So everyone look out for him. He's in his rookie season. So he'll be racing the Indy 500. That's the only oval he's doing. But he's doing all the road and street courses. He had a bit of an unfortunate one at St. Pete. But he had a clutch failure, to be fair. So that's far from ideal. But I think he'll be really strong. And hopefully the package that they've got is looking better than what he had last year. Sit. His teammate went P10 in the first race. So, but I'm telling you now, everyone who doesn't know, like, go get to know, because he's going to be, I think he's going to turn a lot of heads this year. But yeah, IndyCar, it's got to be the goal. I just think Formula 1 is obviously the pinnacle of the sport, but to get there is just so much financial backing that you need. Someone's got to pay for it at some point, and like the money is just outrageous. And IndyCar, don't get me wrong, it's not exactly like it's not exactly a Povo championship either. Can't exactly rock up broke and with no one backing you and get there, but it is possible. So, and when you're watching it, when you're looking at it, it's a bit like watching F1 like 15 years ago. I think it's unreal. So IndyCar. Next question. how much strength is required for single-seater racing, and how do you maintain that strength? Now that depends on what category. If you're, obviously from my experience, I've driven Indy Pro, Formula 3, like the Lara, which is like what Lando Norris won Formula 3 in. What's now called GV3, that was British F3 at the time. That's a Tatas car. That's actually the same tub, like same bare tub as the Indy Pro, but with different tyres, different wings. So those cars are a bit more difficult, to be honest. Like, how do I say this? Strength is relative. So if you're small, like I'm obviously quite a big lad, like I'm 6'2". I'm naturally strong. So I've not had to work on my strength that much. But what I have had to work on is my endurance. I would sometimes get tired, like, throughout a run. And that's just because my cardiovascular endurance was so poor. So then, like, even though it feels light to drive, I'm just wrecked by the end. So I'd say, but then that being said, I've had drivers where, even driving the Formula Ford, which is a lot easier physically, because you've got smaller tyres, so less contact patch, which makes the steering wheel lighter. Max, this way! You've got smaller tyres, which makes the contact patch less, so it makes the wheel lighter. And you've got no wings, so like obviously that makes it way lighter. Then the downforce car is a lot heavier on the wheel in the high speed than in the low speed. But yeah, I've had one certain driver, and you know who you are if you're watching. He would just get tired so quick. So, but he's a smaller lad, and he was really young. So yeah, he wasn't even old enough to race the category. So, you know, it depends really. I'm obviously like a 23-year-old bloke now. I'm not a lad anymore. So like just naturally, biologically, I should have more strength. But yeah, you definitely need to work on your strength. It's not like you can just be weak and drive. You need to have like a decent level of strength. But anyone who's like a gym lad would be strong enough pretty much straight away. If you're like training, resistance training consistently, you'll be strong enough. But I'm not convinced that everyone would have the cardio to maintain it. 11. Do you practice in Assetto Corsa? No, I've never even played it, if I'm being honest. That's the one that's only on Xbox, right? Because I played loads of Gran Turismo growing up, but I always had PlayStations growing up. So if Assetto's the one, that might be Forza, actually. I might be getting mixed up. I don't know. Either way, I've not played Forza or Assetto Corsa, and I don't practice on them either. A lot of people have been hating on rental karting. What's your opinion? Open brackets, KWC level, close brackets. So I don't know what KWC is, but I love rental karting. I think it's great. I think, don't get me wrong, like it is a bit easy. So in terms of like, once you get to a certain point, like there's not really much more you can do. So then like you're just going to be getting beaten by someone who's lighter and smaller. But that being said, I think it's such good entry level. It's cheap. It's as cheap as racing's ever going to get. Most tracks will have a league or like a members championship or whatever they call it, and those are actually really competitive. Like especially in the States, when I'll travel around, I'll go to a lot of rental karting tracks. And I think I might do this now. Like I think I might just go and do some rental karting footage, because I love it. Like I was thinking this the other day, I watched the lad, I might tag it in the description. I'll have to find it first. I'll put it on the text if I find it on the screen. But this lad did like a 50 lap race around like Team Sport and like Coventry or something like that, like Warrington. I watched the whole video and I was like, this is actually mint content. Like I really enjoyed that. Obviously you could tell that the lad had no real experience outside of the rental karts, and he got like really tired. But I think he was just a young lad. He must have been like 15 or 16. So great video it was. I really enjoyed to watch that. So I'm thinking I might do this way. Come on. He keeps going for all the wrong bridges. It's like, mate, how many times have you walked this route? Still don't know where to go. Yeah, anyway, long story short, love the rental karting. If you've got no means to like go real, I don't want to say real karting, but outdoor, you know, owner karting, go rental karting. I think it's great. Yeah, really enjoyable. So yeah, I love it. Number 13, are you ever gonna come and race in Dubai? I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I know there's a bit of a scene out there now, especially for the karting. I don't know what the car racing scene is like, but one of my best mates growing up is now out there full time with two other lads that I know. They're just running go-karts out there and just doing that full time. From what I hear, the lifestyle's pretty good. I've seen some nights out that they've had via social media, and it looks like great crack. So yeah, I'd love to go out for sure. I don't know if I'd want to live there or what. I heard it's pretty expensive, but yeah, I definitely want to go and try. And I think the car track looks really good, but as I say, I don't know if the car scene is thriving as well as the karting. But that being said, if the karting is really thriving like it seems to be, then eventually all those kids will move into cars, and then the car thing in 5 years or so will probably be doing the same. Your penis size and what you think it's in inverted commas good enough. It's absolutely tiny. I don't think it's good enough. Right, moving swiftly onwards. Do you make money from racing? And when did you start making money from it? So that's what I was saying earlier. I make money, but like more from like the coaching than anything else. And I first started making money when I was 13. Was the first day I ever got paid for coaching. I actually got paid when I was 10, but €5 for a day to translate at the karting track in Spain. But the deal was I got to drive for free. So would you count that? Probably not. So in that case, I'd say 13 when I first started coaching. And then I was like pretty much like making like full-time money. I was getting paid really, really well, especially for my age at like 17. So yeah, I'd say like 13 I was getting paid already. But as I say, it's a bit of a difference to get paid coaching. It's a lot easier to get coaching work than it is to be in with like a big manufacturer like your Porsches, BMWs, Ferrari, whatever it may be. The dog's like staring at me across the field. But yeah, so it's a bit different. But 13 I was, first time I got paid properly for, which is mental. Right, next question. Top tip to get faster in karting? Drive fast, don't die. I don't know, really, like be smooth. Like look at all the top karting drivers, try copy their style. The one thing they've all got in common is it looks like their steering wheel doesn't move when they drive. So really try and master the art of like being able to send it into a corner and getting really good on the brake pedal, so you can kind of rotate the kart and slow it down in the same corner and make it look like your wheel just stays straight. I'd say probably that is the biggest one. Depends what level you're at as well, I guess. If you're like pretty slow, you might need to just be braking better and like braking either harder or softer, depending on if you're a hooligan or what. But I'd say probably that. ¿Cómo bajar el tiempo en running? So, te voy a responder en castellano. El running, no sé, la verdad es que no soy el mejor de hablar de esto porque estoy bastante lento, pero creo como todo en la vida, ¿no? Tienes que correr más. Yo he encontrado que cuando hago más kilómetros, cuando hago como 50, 60 kilómetros a la semana, pues ya mi velocidad va mucho mejor y puedo correr más rápido también. Pues entonces corre más, ¿no? Simplemente haz eso y va a ser una ventaja. Come here, boy. Come here. Come here, Max. Come on. Come here. Sí, eso es todo. Correr mucho. Mejor si tienes dos parejas de bambas para correr, de entrenar. Y a lo mejor 3 o 4. Alguna gente... Sit, Max. Sit down. Sit. Alguna gente que conozco tienen... Puede ser 5 pares de de bambas para entrenar. Yo tengo 2, pero sí. Y practicarlo mucho es como lo que sea. Si quieres ser cocinero, pues tienes que cocinar más. Igual con el running, ¿no? Vale. Do you think that there's any chance in the near future for people with lower budgets to start racing? I'd say it's going the wrong way around for that, if I'm being honest. I think racing's getting more and more expensive. So I'd recommend if you're like trying to get into it and you're serious about getting into it, get into it like ASAP. I would. Oh my god, it's so muddy. It's gonna go on like you've been framed when I eat shit. Just listen to the dogs, like the dog walking through his feet. Yeah, just no, like I don't think it's gonna get cheaper. It's not gonna get cheaper. But there are cheap ways of doing it. Like there's ways that if you go karting, you can be racing for like a few £100 a weekend really. Obviously after you've bought a kart and a motor and you've got a way of transporting it. You're not going to be winning at high level with that, but it's racing nevertheless. So, and the best way to learn is to race. So you kind of got to, you know, like take it on the chin and like, oh, it's so muddy. This is insane. Just like that. Insane. Yeah, you kind of need to take it on the chin and just realise you're not going to be world champion in your first go. So I would definitely recommend to start karting, especially if you're trying to do it cheap. Because if you get really good in karting, you're going to have a big advantage going into cars. Whereas if you're like just brand new, going straight into cars, you're really learning the expensive way. Because when you're smashing it up, instead of it being maybe like a couple £100 worst case, it could be like 10 grand worst case, or 6 grand or whatever. So yeah, I'd say buy your own equipment, learn to run it yourself, get friends and family to help you sit. If you can. If not, it's obviously going to be a lot harder. Go on. Yeah, if you're like doing it all yourself, it's going to obviously be a lot harder. But I think it's still possible. I've seen people do it, so there's no reason why that can't be you too. But yeah, it's not going to get any cheaper anytime soon. So, next question. Do you have sponsor for race? I currently do not. I've had a few people approach me recently about some sort of deals and stuff, endorsements. But the truth is, like, I've had people in the past sponsor me as well, to be fair. Some relationships have gone better than others, if we just put it that way. But looking forwards, I really want to be with companies and brands that where the relationship's mutually beneficial, where they help me and I can help them. I want to be somewhere where I believe in that company, I like what they're doing. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I have had talks with people where I'm just like, I don't actually care about anything about your company. So like, I'm not going to do that, because then I'm just going to feel like a bit of a sellout. I'd rather wait, be patient. Ilya Dompura, whatever his name is, the UFC champ in featherweight, the Spanish. He's like Georgian, but he lives in Spain. He said something so interesting. I was listening to a podcast with him on it just yesterday, and it was in Spanish. But he said it was something along the lines of "El camino más largo es el más rápido," which means the route or the walk that's the longest is actually the fastest. And what he meant by that is like, you've got to have your patience. And I truly believe that with sponsorship. Like, I've been speaking to a lot of people about this, and I'm like, I'm not going to go and do something what it might be more beneficial for me short term, but I just don't believe in it in the long term. So there will be a time, and I am working on it, to be fair, where I will be in with some companies and doing some sponsorship moves. But I want them to really get a maximum value out of it, and I want it to be something that I care about. something that I believe in and something that I think will help my followers and people in racing and people that I know. Because I just don't think it's sustainable otherwise. I've been trying to study case studies where people who've got it right and people who've got it wrong. And time again, it's like, if you've not got your heart in it, you're going to fail. So this is not something what I want to fail in life. I've dedicated my whole life to it. So I've got to be 100% sure. So without getting too deeply philosophical, I'll move on. Best place or team to get seat time that's not single seaters. You're asking the wrong guy, to be honest. Single seaters is pretty much everything that I know. So ultimately, it comes down to what your goal is. If you want to be racing something like touring car wise, or if you want to be racing something that's a bit more like GT wise. If you want to be doing sports cars like LMP, DPI, whatever it's called, whatever you want to call it, whatever class it is, the best way for that is single seaters, because it's very similar technique to single seaters. Now, if you want to be doing GT or, like I say, touring car, then the route's quite different. If you want to be doing the GT way, the route, where you end up in the GT3s, I would recommend the cheapest or best. Did you say best or cheapest? Best, you said. Then the best way would be, I still think like either a GT4 team or a GT5 team. You get tested in that, and yeah, get used to that type of car. I'm not going to recommend any teams or any cars to do it in, because I've not experienced that myself. I feel uncomfortable giving advice in something that I've not actually experienced myself. But then if you're looking to do the like touring car way, what used to be the Renault Clio, which is like not really what it was, I'd say go do the minis. The mini John Cooper Works looks like the best, like feeling around. A lad I know, Ronan Pearson, he was doing that, and I was in touring car, and he jumped direct from one to the other, and he did a good job in his first season. So it's not that huge a jump, like it's a doable jump. So I'd say probably try aim for that then. Aim to like start off in lower minis and like one of the club championships, and then eventually put yourself in a position where you're doing the John Cooper Works Championship, and then you can make the jump from there. But yeah, so if you're wanting to do GTs, start off in a GT4 or GT5. I know the Ginetta GT5 Championship's like pretty competitive, so maybe that's a pretty good stepping stone if you're too old to do Ginetta Junior or anything else like that. And if you want to be doing the touring car style, like saloon car style racing, then start off in something like a mini. NASCAR, question mark. Good question. The answer is yes. Favourite track, favourite corner, favourite car. That's all 3 questions and 1 question. So, favourite track, probably Spa, the F1 track in Belgium. Yeah, it's just lovely. Got such a nice flow to it. But that being said, I don't really have a favourite track. I kind of love all of them. I can't actually think of a single track. There's only one track in the whole entire world in karting, all cars, that I don't like to drive. Just driving it. And that's Rissington, which is a little go-kart track here. But that being said, I really like Rissington in the wet. I just don't like it in the dry. Come here, Max, come here, sit. Go. Go on, go. Good boy. Yeah, so favourite track, probably Spa. I like a lot of tracks. Spa in Europe, Road America in North America. Yeah, that's a good answer. Favourite corner. Favourite corner. So I guess saying as I've done those two as my favourite tracks, I've got to pick a corner from each. I guess it's fair. Now a lot of people would say Eau Rouge. The cars I've driven it in, it's a bit boring. It's good in the wet, in the F3. But in the dry, it's just way too easy flat. Pouhon, probably Pouhon for Spa. I think Pouhon's a really nice corner. Sit. No, actually, the chicane after Pouhon, fifth path, I think it's called. I think that's a really nice corner. Go on, go. Good boy. yeah, so Biff Path for Spa, because it's like a really nice chicane. And then for Road America, probably the last corner. That feels really nice to drive, there's that last corner. So probably that. Can't tell if that's a person on there or a tree. I think it's a tree. No, when like trees look like humans. That would be one of them. Oh, and favourite car. Well, the best car I ever drove was an Indy Pro, so Indy Pro. Best exercises to do for your neck at home. So what I do personally, I know a lot of people have got trainers and all that stuff, but obviously we're not all in a position to hire someone full time to do that. What I do, I've got a couple of plates, like little tiny plates though, for like, not for like a barbell. I'm talking, I've got 1 kg plates and 1.25 kg plates, and they're like from my dad's old dumbbells that he had in like 1980. They're like proper old school, I like them. But what I do, I just lie off the edge of my bed and I just rep it out with them, depending on how I feel. I either go more or less. Some days I've got a little bit of DOMs going on because I might have just nailed them the day before, so I'll go a bit less obviously. But yeah, basically I'm just doing it from all 4 sides. So I'll do laterally, so like that, hanging off the bed, and you try to really exaggerate that range of motion. And I've just put like the plate like here, if you know what I mean. I'm holding it on with my, you have to hold it on with your inside hand to be able to really get the stretch in the neck. And then I do, so either side, and then I do it with like the weight on the back of my head, where I'm like head down and then pulling up. And then I like flip over and I've got it on my forehead and I'm like back, repping it like that. And I do that every morning actually. So as soon as I wake up, I brush my teeth, whatever, and I'm doing that straight away before I leave my room. It's just a habit. Like, I've just built that nice little habit because it's then easy to get in and easy to train, and you're just always doing it like that. Now, if I were to get an F1 call up or whatever, which is unlikely right now, my neck would not be ready. Like, it wouldn't be that level. But if I was to hop in like an Indy Pro or F3 level, it would be good enough for that. So I just need to keep ticking over really, and then when those dates come through, you normally know within a few weeks. So I'll probably go a week like nailing it really hard, and then probably like a few days deload just to let it rest up before I'm in the car. So next question, how can I get somewhere like you are now? Well, get in your car and drive, obviously. So funny. I don't know, like I feel like I just got really lucky to get in the position where I got. I had a dad who was passionate about racing, even though he didn't know much about it. I was really passionate from a really young age. I was very vocal that I wanted to race karts. So I got into it really young, which is a huge advantage in my opinion. And then obviously I was fortunate enough to have so many opportunities all the way up. I got way further than what I should have got really. Like financially speaking, I've got way ahead of where I should have been. So obviously I feel so lucky for that. Now for you to get there, I don't know your position, so I don't know where you are, I don't know who you are, don't know what your racing experience, but what I would say is you need to be trying to do something. So whether it's sim racing or indoor karting, like I spoke about earlier, you need to try get in and yeah, just do something, and then learn as much as you can, meet as many people as you can, create as much opportunity as you can, and go from there. Next question, affordable ways to get into track racing. So like I say, it depends where you are. Again, I don't know your position, I don't know what's affordable to you, because that's all relative. If you've got like 10 billion in the account, you can just go straight to F1. If you're a brokey like me, you can't quite get there that quickly. But yeah, basically the same as what I've been preaching all video is try to do what you can. So whether it's sim racing, indoor karting, owner karting, or even track days, if you can take your car onto track for a track day. I'm a big advocate for track days as well. I think they're great. Get yourself an instructor. Just like, it doesn't have to be someone too good, just someone who communicates well and is like, has a rough idea of what they're doing. they'll be cheaper than someone who's a bit better anyway. Just get them in next to you, let them do a few laps, so then you've got like an idea. Take a GoPro with you, and then you have a go and let them guide you. Or like I was saying, go indoor karting, whatever. Get into it that way. But what's important is it doesn't matter how low level you got to go. You just got to get in, and then once you're in, then you've got like half a chance. But that's always going to be the hardest step, is actually getting into racing. And as I just said previously there, like someone like myself, or like all the F1 guys and stuff like that, so lucky that I didn't have to think about it, because I just vocalized my interest in racing at like 4 years of age, and then I was in a go-kart. So yeah, just kind of get into it. That's the most important step, I would say. Who are your top 5 drivers on the grid? Now I'm going to assume you mean Formula 1. So yeah, I'm going to go Formula 1 drivers. Top 5. So Verstappen, I think right now he's the best ever. Best on the grid. And I think he's potentially the best ever. Alonso, he's still driving at a super high level. He's always so like above his equipment, I think. So Verstappen, Alonso. Leclerc is probably the quickest on one lap. Sainz, I think, is massively underrated. And then Lando, I think, is actually very complete. So I'd say those 5. But the truth is, like, when you're talking to the F1 boys, this is the thing, like, people like drivers stick online and be like, oh, you're so crap, this and that. They don't realise the level. Like, the worst guy in F1 is literally already, like, still world class. So, and people are, like, giving them dogs abuse online. I was reading it, like, you've got no idea. It's, that concept, isn't it, of you don't realise how good someone else is until you get a certain level of good. So then, obviously, you could get keyboard warriors just giving out over someone who's actually doing a good job. But yeah, I'd say those are my top 5. What's your sim rig like? It's really not great, to be honest. It's very like entry level. So it's a Thrustmaster T500. I think that's what it's called. It might be a T500S. I might have to look that up. But I would have bought it in about 2012 to play the F1 game on the PS3. And I've got a play seat with it. So like there's a play seat and a play seat frame, and then it's a belt driven wheel, and I don't actually know what the pedals are. I don't know if they're the cell block or whatever it's called. I'm showing my limited knowledge on sim racing right now, aren't I? But yeah, not too sure actually what the pedals are, but they came with the Thrustmaster T500, so that's what I've got. But I do need to start upgrading, so anyone, if you've got any recommendations of a good next step for me, sim setup wise, put it down below and I'll start looking into it, because I do want to move up. My biggest thing is like the wheel. It's like, even though it's belt driven, even if I got a direct drive now on the frame I've got, like it would just shake like crazy, because I'm getting to, like the wheel obviously moves like left and right, but then it's also moving like that way, like back and forwards, and that's what gives like a really off sensation whilst driving on the sim. Whereas if that was like really secure, I was just getting the left and right and vibration, but without it moving like 6 inches either way, then the feel would be much better driving wise. So final question, 28. I'm 50 minutes into the video. I think you know what, I'm just gonna not cut this up. I'm just gonna leave it all like this, just leave it out there, and then just have the whole, almost like a podcast. Maybe listen to this as a podcast instead of a video. But anyway, question number 28. What sim racing setup should I get? So I've just asked you guys that. I mean, I've got something really entry level, and I've gotten to a point where I'm like, best case I'd be like a second off the top guys, and then worst case I'm like 2.5 off the top guys, on the Formula Ford, which is obviously going to be quite an easy category relative to like the F1 or whatever. But so I'd say anything entry level, just get yourself into it and then go upgrading like I'm about to do now. So you need to stay tuned to see what I end up doing. But anyway, so that was all 28 questions, 51 minutes now. It's really dark, as you can see. The sun's pretty much set. To be fair, like, the lighting on the phone actually looks half decent. I'm nearly home anyway, so it's been pretty good to dog walk and do this. Although I've walked a lot slower than I normally walk, it has to be said. If you've watched this far, thank you very much for watching. I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up or a comment to let me know your thoughts. If you like or dislike the answer to your question, let me know. It really boosts me in the algorithm. So whenever like I get a comment or a like, the video just goes really well. And like I say, I really like that. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. This part I'm going to put at the start of the video. Every single question that's answered, I'll put in the bio, down below, in the caption. What's it called, that? I don't even know. But I'll put every question that I've answered, I'll put down below with a timestamp for all 28 questions. So if you want to find your question, just jump straight to it. I'll put it down below for you. And yeah, that's it. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If not, then unlucky. And see you all soon. Goodbye.